Well, guys, this is going to be the way that it's going to have to go, I guess, for today, as we've got a problem with, unfortunately, Facebook. This is as good as I can do in terms of giving you guys storm coverage, is just doing it on my phone like this instead of using OBS and having all of this information at your guys' eyeballs and at my fingertips. Five of my fingertips are going to be held are going to be held up using the phone. So I did want to jump on here because the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning now for parts of this would be Pike and Walthall County, and then down into clipping the northern parishes of Louisiana here for a radar confirmed tornado. That's thing that I've circled on here. That's the debris signature. So we are lofting debris up into the air. The National Weather Service in Slidell noting that the tornado crossed over I-55 a little bit earlier, and it was caught on one of the looks like it was caught on an MDOT camera right at the border, and so we've got confirmation of this being on the ground. They've now upgraded this to a considerable tag, which means that you're talking about at least an EF2 tornado on the ground right now, and that's going to be crossing over. I guess the state line. The MDOT cam caught it just over the state line, but it's going to be kind of marching down the state line and crossing over into extreme southern Pike County over the next couple of minutes here, and then into parts of Walthall County, Tylertown down the road from there. And then, as we kind of look further down the street, we've got Columbia. So you've got your thing right there. There's your debris signature. We can put storm relative on here just to make sure, and yep, there it is. And this is going to be moving to the northeast right now. And let me grab the latest on this from the National Weather Service, because it looks like they actually just updated the tornado warning here. And this one is going to be for southwestern Walthall and southeastern Pike counties. And this one is going to be in effect until 12:30. This is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. It's now 16 miles off to the southeast of Macomb. This is a damaging tornado with hail up to the size of an inch, but they have the considerable tag on here, which I believe is the threshold for an EF2 tornado on the ground. What they can do is they can look at the debris signature on here. If we go back to CC here, you can look at the debris signature, which doesn't look quite as robust anymore, thank goodness. But they can look at the debris signature on here, and they can tilt the radar up higher and higher and higher and see how high up the debris is going. And at a certain point, they say, okay, the debris has stopped at 10,000 feet or whatever, 5,000 feet or 15,000 feet, whatever it is. And they can make an assessment that it takes a certain amount of wind to loft debris a certain height up into the air. And then they can go back to the EF scale and say, okay, we have at least an EF2 tornado on the ground. So again, I want to circle up the correct area for you guys. This is crossed over and into parts of southeastern Pike County, and this is going to be moving into Walthall County here shortly. We can go back over to the storm relative velocity, and you can see that's where we've got the red on the green there. Again, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. The National Weather Service in Slidell saying that this will be moving 16 miles southeast of Macomb. And some of the places it will be near is Tylertown by 12:40. So you folks in Tylertown have about 5 minutes before it gets there. So if you're watching in Tylertown right now and in parts of western Walthall County, southeastern Pike County, I need you to get to your safe place immediately. I need you to put as much stuff between you and the stuff that's happening outside as you can. Again, this is going to be one of those days. I talked about this on the live last night. This is a two-waller kind of a day. I need two walls at the very minimum between you and what's happening outside, this storm. Which means that if you're in an interior hallway where you've got two walls on each side of you, and then you've got another set of walls outside of that, before you get to outside, you're good there. But I would prefer another set of walls. A three-waller would be great. Four walls, even better. But this is a two-wall kind of day for you folks, no pun intended, in Walthall County. As this moves from southeastern Pike and into Walthall County, I just need you guys to get to that safe spot. Do what you can to protect yourself, too. We always say grab a helmet if you can, if you got like a bike helmet, motorcycle helmet, kids if they got a football helmet. Throw it on. What we want to do is just protect you from the potential of any debris that could be in the air. And I don't want you getting blonked in the head, unfortunately, by something. If heaven forbid something's to happen, I want to make sure that you guys are as safe as possible. So do what you can to protect yourself. Blankets, pillows, couch cushions. If it's a bathroom that you're in, an interior bathroom, that's even better. You can jump in the tub, throw some couch cushions on top of you. And again, this is a considerable tag on this one from the National Weather Service in Slidell. And let's see here. We've got a report of, looks like, yeah, tornado on the ground here. So not only do we have the radar confirming this, we now have the MDOT cam a couple minutes ago that could see it down the street. And we just got another word from, it looks like a storm spotter that can see this thing on the ground right now. So again, for you folks in Tylertown right now, you've got less than 5 minutes to get to your safe place. If you're just if the weather's getting hairy outside and you jumped on Facebook and you said, hey, I wonder what, is Nick talking about this thing? I am. And I'm telling you to get to your safe place right now. This is not the only game in town. In fact, I'll bring you guys down here. We've got another tornado warning right now for parts of Simpson County. I'll get to that here in a second. But real quick, I did want to start off with this considerable tagged tornado warning for parts of Pike County and Walthall County, because this is going to be up to an EF2 in strength. So the folks in Jackson, speaking of that storm, in fact, real quick, let me slide you guys up here, and we can kind of take a peek at the storm to the north. And again, this is for you folks. McGee, while you guys have some red on green here, you guys are actually outside of the warning. This is for the folks in Mendenhall. More specifically, again, your area of main rotation is right here, and this one's moving off to the northeast as well. The National Weather Service in Jackson saying that the supercell in southwestern Simpson is now showing a well-defined RFD. This is likely will surge and evolve into a hook a little bit better. The overall evolution of this is pretty classic, and it won't take long for it to drop a tornado. So that's their concern right now. So for you folks in Mendenhall here, you guys also have about 5 minutes to get to your safe place. Points nearby and points both north and south, up down 49 there. I need you guys to get to your safe place as well. Zooming back out, sliding back down to the south. I want to switch my radar here real quick, if you'll bear with me, and make sure that I'm pulling in the closest data here. I'll put the cities back on here so you can get an idea. Notice that your tornado here has actually lifted a little farther off to the northeast, which means you folks in Tylertown are going to be, oh, come on, get out of here. You folks, sorry, I'm getting pinged by my own app, letting me know that there's tornado warnings. Yeah, thank you, me. I already know though. This one has actually shifted a little off to the north. So you folks in Tylertown proper, let me run this back a couple of frames, and you can kind of see how it's marching northeast, and almost, if we're to put, kind of a dot on here, right? So originally it was down here, and then we kind of follow that forward, and it's up there. So if we were to take this path and kind of continue it off, you folks in Tylertown, in this particular situation, if it doesn't wobble, and these tend to wobble as they're kind of going down, it won't be a straight line. It'll be kind of like this. These will tend to wobble today. So you folks in Tylertown right now, it looks like you guys will be just off to the south as this passes by. But if you're living on the west side of Tylertown, and if you're living down 98 and toward Macomb in Walthall County, anywhere near 98 in Walthall County, west of Tylertown, I need you guys to get to your safe place immediately. I need you guys to put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. Let's see here. We've got debris being lofted up 7,000 feet, according to the National Weather Service. So again, EF2, I think you'd move to an EF3 at 10,000 feet, and then an EF4 at 12 or 15,000 feet. To give you an idea, the Easter tornadoes in 2020, I believe, was 18,000 feet, was how high it was lofting debris. Downstream tornado warning coming for Walthall County, according to the folks at the National Weather Service in Slidell. Thanks. Sorry, I'm commenting here to the National Weather Service. So again, this is going to slide, looks like just off to the northwest or on the northwest side of you folks in Tylertown right now. Sliding back to the north. Again, I don't want to forget about you guys to the north here. We'll switch our radar site. We'll get back out of Jackson here. And this one's going to be up on Mendenhall again. You guys have about 5 minutes before this shows up. Aha, okay, so this is the one that's a little farther off to the north. Okay. Working on a downstream tornado warning coming for Walthall and into Marion County. Okay, so we're going to slide back off to the south. So Marion County, you guys are going to end up with a tornado warning downstream from this one. So for you folks that are watching right now in Columbia and parts of Marion County, my guess would be this tornado warning is probably going to look something, like, that we'll kind of cross. It's probably going to look something like that, give or take. What they might do is they might just say, to heck with it. This is a day where tornadoes, really don't have a reason to stop tornadoing. And so they may just kind of clip a lot of places. That would include you folks in Bassfield, Columbia, and all the way back down toward Tylertown. You can see how this thing is really starting to wrap itself up. Again, we're pulling that from Jackson. So as you get higher up in the atmosphere, let's go back to CC here. Yeah, that's a stout drop in CC. I can't zoom in any closer, but we're talking about down around under a 0.75, 0.78. And so, yeah, you're lofting debris here. And again, this is moving northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. The folks in Slidell added the considerable tag here. Let me pull up some of the newest details of this latest tornado warning. Yeah, so they're still going considerable. Tylertown by 1245, Salem by 1250. Tylertown by 1245, Salem by 1250. And again, I think this is going to be the northwest side of you folks in Tylertown. As we flip it back over to storm relative, yeah, you can kind of see how the National Weather Service in Jackson, they're spraying this a little more to the northwest. So for you folks in Columbia here, you are barely outside of this thing. And again, with this moving kind of northeast like that, generally, this should miss you folks in Columbia. This will be just to the northwest of you folks in Tylertown. They're going to be crossing over 98 west of Tylertown here in the next couple minutes. It's going to continue off to the northeast again. This is moving at about 50 miles an hour. Let's see here. Put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside. That's really the important thing here for these tornado warned storms for today, particularly because we're talking about a considerable tornado. So for you folks in like Mesa, the Mesa community, this is going to be going right through town. It looks like this actually passed by just to the north of Progress. For you folks in Darbin, downstream from this, in White Bluff, for you folks in Morgantown, in Marion County. For folks in Oak Vale, you're included in this, Society Hill, downstream from this, and then eventually on to Bassfield. But right now, it looks like this is going to be crossing over 98 in the next couple of minutes, again, near the Mesa community. And then, Darbin, you guys are next. Anywhere up and down 27 north of Highway 98 in Walthall County, and all the way to, we'll call it about, where is it? We'll call it north to the intersection with Highway 44. You probably need to be watching this one pretty closely. But again, yeah, you folks in Tylertown proper, this will pass by again, as you can kind of see here, just to your northwest. I'm going to go back to your CC drop here to see what this looks like. That's a tornado on the ground right in there. So there's Tylertown proper here. Let me see if I can't draw 98 on here for you guys. So that's 98, and that'll be crossing over 98 again. It's basically going right through the Mesa community. I need you guys to get to your safe place right now. Put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. This is a 2-waller, probably a 3-waller now. I need 2 or 3 walls between you and what's happening outside with this thing. That's a pretty stout CC drop. The National Weather Service noting that we're lofting debris up at least 6,000 to 7,000 feet. And yeah, the north of Tylertown and then down near Darbin, Mississippi is going to be next up on here. So says the National Weather Service. So again, for you folks, put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside. Again, here's this is Highway 98 right here. That's what this is. Again, if you're just joining the live stream here, that's what this line is. That's Highway 98. Circled here, this drop in blue is going to be the tornado as it crosses over 98. This is moving to the northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Put as much stuff between you and the storm as you can if you're in its path right now. I really need you to grab a helmet, pillows and blankets, couch cushions, don't care. Just do what you can to protect yourself from what's happening outside. Let's see here. Let me zoom back out and make sure. Yeah, nothing else. By the way, for folks that are going, hey, I've seen a couple comments kind of slide by. Hey, what about me? I'm over here. What do I need to worry about? Right now, the only folks that need to worry about anything are our friends and neighbors in Walthall and Marion County. That is a stout hook on that thing, and that's a stout tornado in there as well. To the north, for folks in parts of Simpson County, there is also a tornado warning up there. The National Weather Service in Jackson noting they're still waiting for the potential for a tornado to happen there. They have not confirmed that yet. Let me double check with them real quick and make sure that nothing has changed. They're saying it's about to tour, and then a strong one will be possible, and they will probably go with the considerable tag once it drops, and they can confirm it is on the ground. But so far to the north, they don't have any indication that it is... No, now they do. I take that back. The brand new National Weather Service now saying tornado on the ground for you folks in Simpson County, and they have went with a considerable tag here. And so we've got two considerable tagged strong tornadoes on the ground right now. We've got one in Simpson County and the other one down in Walthall County. For everybody else, if it's raining or thundering near you and you're not in Walthall, Marion, or Simpson County, you don't have a tornado warning right now. But folks down here, and I'll slide north to Simpson County here momentarily, it looks like we've got word from in Mendenhall that there is rotation, but they can't see if there's actually a tornado on the ground. We have seen, we've had spotters see that there is a tornado on the ground to the south. If we look at CC down here, we do see that the tornado now right there across parts of, we'll call it west central Walthall County. This is northwest of Tylertown right now. And again, this is moving northeast. See, remember how I said these will wobble? You see how much that wobbled in the last, so remember this thing came out, it was doing kind of one of these numbers, and now it's jumped up like that. So that's the wobbling that I talk about with these. And for you folks that remember, all of the tornadoes we've had over the years around here, you kind of know how these wobbles kind of go. Looking for a CC drop up here, and let me run this back and make sure that I'm not missing something. And we may have seen something in Mendenhall right here. Let's go back to your velocity. It looks like that's just barely offset from where. Oh yeah. So the RFD surge that we had here offset the debris off to the north. So yeah, we've got a tornado moving through Mendenhall right now. Tornado moving through Mendenhall right now in Simpson County. And again, this one also moving northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Things moving at highway speeds today. So for you folks downstream, again, here, let me circle this up real quick. For folks in Mendenhall and downstream from Mendenhall. So that includes anyone up and down 43 in Mendenhall, up and down 49 near Mendenhall. So you take 43 to the northeast, or I should say 13 out of Mendenhall to the northeast, not 43, 13 out of Mendenhall to the northeast. That's what this thing is going to be driving down. Just like you would drive a truck right down 13, that's likely what this thing's going to be doing. And again, we have a confirmed tornado with a considerable tag here. Looking at the CC, it's very difficult to find in here, but I'm going to trust the National Weather Service because they have more tools than I have. Right now, this is just radar scope. They have a whole suite of radar stuff. I gotta go with what they're saying. Even though we go back, 1 or 2 frames here, we can see, yeah, that was probably part of it, and it kind of fanned out a little bit, but my guess would be it'll come back. It's just a matter of, we don't have the same tools that they have and it also looks like, unfortunately, that's a big old radar hole. And that can happen sometimes when you get like range folding, so values get so high that they fall off the scale. We've had that a couple of times around here over the years, but it ends up looking like kind of a donut hole. And so this would be the inflow into the storm. Back down, and then we've got a new tornado warning now in effect also, for Smith County. This is for you folks in Raleigh. So if you're watching this in Raleigh, this would include you guys. So again, this is up and down, or along 18 and up and down 35 in Smith County. And that's kind of a wider look there. But if we go and look at CC, yeah, I would argue that might be a little miniature CC drop in there. The National Weather Service saying they're now going to upgrade to a tornado emergency down in Walthall County near Salem. Tornado emergency now in effect down off to the south in Walthall County. That is lofting debris. Holy cow. Okay, so we here can also look and see how high is this lofting debris. So we can go from the radar beam in Jackson, and that is a debris signature showing up off the Jackson site of a beam height of at least 5,000 feet lofting debris. We can go to tilt 4 here, and we can still see that it's lofting debris, and now the beam height is no longer... Now we got to reset our beam height here. I don't know if it'll let me do this at a higher tilt, if it'll actually tell me. Yes, it will. There we go. We are now lofting debris up to at least 11,000 feet. So we are getting very close to, unfortunately, an EF3 or an EF4 tornado possibly on the ground right now in Walthall County. Zooming back in here, I'm going to stick down here for you folks to the north. Hang with me for a couple seconds. But your friends down here are dealing with a very violent and dangerous tornado in parts of rural Walthall County. Again, this is northern Walthall County, moving off to the northeast again about highway speeds. So this would be northwest. This would be near probably just south of the Enon community. You folks in JS are also in the path of this one too. Pricedale, you folks are probably just to the west. Okay, we got a new radar scan right in there. So you can kind of see what direction this is kind of going right in there. So this will be crossing over the county line for you folks in, we'll call Oakvale and Arm, and points nearby, points between. You folks in White Bluff are probably just off to the south of this. And this would go all the way up to, let's see here. Let me, give me a hot second here, guys. Yeah. So for folks, yeah, the Darbin community would be included in this. Yeah, and then on to, we'll call it actually Morgantown, White Bluff. I was a little too far north. Morgantown, White Bluff, and Society Hill. Morgantown, White Bluff, and Society Hill are probably next on this one. Let's see. We've got latest from the National Weather Service here. Saying that a catastrophic tornado. So this would be, again, EF3, EF4, urging you guys to take cover now. This one is located over Salem, about 18 miles off to the west of Columbia, moving off to the northeast at about 50 miles an hour. Do what you can to protect yourself from this one, folks. We need you to get to that safe place. Just put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. This is now a 3-waller, right? I was talking about 2 walls before. Right? If you can do a 3-waller, that'd be great. Put 3 walls between you and what's happening outside. This is lofting debris up. This is going 17 to 20,000 feet is what the National Weather Service is saying in Slidell. That would be commensurate with an EF4. This is Easter 2020. You folks in Bassfield. You know what this means. Latest from the Weather Service saying, getting reports of, let's see here, that we've got campers overturned, perhaps in parts of Walthall County. Campers overturned in parts of rural Walthall County. Again, so parts of Marion County, Walthall County, northern Walthall, parts of Marion, and then parts of Lawrence and over toward Jeff Davis County. You guys are in the path of potential EF4. The National Weather Service in Jackson saying they're going downstream with the tornado emergency, and with 2-inch hail. They have continued the tornado warning in parts of Smith County. Let me put an arrow on here. I want to make sure that you guys know what direction this is going. And in fact, I'm going to switch this back over to reflectivity here because I think that... Oh, come on. Come on, Internet. Don't fail me now. Oh, boy. There's an outside chance that we just lost radar data from... Nope, there it is. Okay, I was going to say, whew. So there's your donut hole of a tornado. This is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Northeast at 50 miles an hour. There we go. Come on. I want to make sure that you guys can see all the cities downstream from this. We've got Bassfield here, Prentice, Silver Creek, you folks in Collins, Seminary. You folks in Columbia are just outside of this one. There's the storm, and it's moving northeast like that. Let's see here. Continues tornado warning, catastrophic. Okay, so here is the latest on Lawrence, Marion, and Jeff Davis counties. The National Weather Service confirmed a large and dangerous and very destructive tornado was located near Salem. That's 19 miles off to the east of Macomb. It's moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. You folks in Tilton and Holly Springs by 1 o'clock. Oakvale and Morgantown, 1:05. Goss, Arm, and Society Hill around 1:10. You folks in Progress around 1:15. Prentice and Carson around 1:20. And Bassfield around 1:25. That is word from the National Weather Service. For the timeline, this is in their words. I want to show you guys this. Their words, a hazard, a deadly tornado. I need you guys to please, if you're watching this right now, do what you can to protect yourself and put as much stuff between you and this storm as you possibly can. With it coming up on the 1 o'clock hour, that means you folks in Tilton, it's on you right now. Holly Springs, on you right now. Oakvale and Morgantown, you got less than 5 minutes. Goss, Arm, Society Hill, less than 10 minutes. You folks in Progress, less than 15 minutes. Prentice and Carson, less than 20 minutes. You folks in Bassfield have about 25 minutes before this shows up. Again, do what you can to protect yourself. The National Weather Service is not mincing words with this. This is lofting debris up almost 20,000 feet in the air. If you think back to some of the more powerful tornadoes we've had in the last 5 years, 18,000, 20,000, 24,000 feet, and those have been rated EF3s and EF4s. Please do what you can to put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. The National Weather Service in Slidell urging folks in Salem and Darwin to take cover immediately if you haven't already. I would say, yeah, you need to be taking cover right now. Let's go back over to velocity here. Actually, let's go to storm relative. We'll give it a second here. The SPC has issued a mesoscale discussion for this cell in particular. Come on, data, don't fail me. We'll do this. This is going to be as good as I can do. The SPC noting that rapidly intensifying tornadic circulation on radar. Rotation is 60 knots, briefly over 90 knots with a TDS up at over 25,000 feet. This suggests an intense and violent tornado is ongoing. The storm is located in the max of some STP of 6 to 8. The storm is will likely be unimpeded as it moves northeast through the afternoon. Therefore, this tornado may persist for quite a while as a violent tornado. Again, that is straight from the SPC. And again, that circle probably looks dangerously familiar to those of you guys who have been following this page for the last couple of days, unfortunately. And so, let's see here. I want to put the cities back on here. And again, I want to apologize about the radar data here. If I could control it and make it go faster, I totally would. Let's see. There may be another cell back in behind this worth watching as well. That doesn't show very well on the... Yeah, there it is. Near Kentwood, another one back here. Here's the current one that we're watching. And again, this one's driving right down the same street. And I hate to sound like Easter of 2020, but we've seen this before. Where we had one supercell here and another one right behind it, and they basically went right down the same path. And so, for folks that have seen this play out before, act accordingly. Do what you can to tell people, protect yourself, and also tell others to protect themselves that are in the path of this storm. And do what you can to make sure that we mitigate the loss of life here. Looks like Pike, yeah, we've got a new tornado warning coming out for, I believe, this cell here. Yeah, I think that's, yep, there it is. So there's a new tornado warning, and it looks like I had the direction not quite perfect, but a new tornado warning there. Back off to the north here, I don't want to forget about our friends back off to the north. I want to double check and see how our CC is doing on here. And it looks like we've got debris fanning out from this one. We'll go back over to Storm Relative, and it was fanned out from that. So we may not have a tornado on the ground anymore here, but the CC drop that you're seeing here could be it fanning out, or it could be the hail, right? Because the radar has to look through this storm to get to this storm. It may actually be the hail from this other storm showing up as well. But again, the Weather Service in Jackson is now more concerned about what's coming out of Walthall County. The supercell in Smith County has taken over and affected the supercell in Rankin County, according to the National Weather Service. Low-level circulation quickly weakening, and they are planning to drop the considerable warning with this one, and they may need to increase the wording on the one in Smith County. So again, they can see stuff that we can't. I would argue that if we did have circulation, we're just flaying debris like this. But we'll have to see. I'm going to slide back off to the south again. I don't want to ignore you guys to the north, but when you've got an EF4 on the ground, probably right there, and moving northeast, right there. Moving northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. We want to do what we can. National Weather Service noting that a large and potentially violent tornado is about to enter their forecast area near the intersection of Lawrence, Marion, and Walthall counties. So that's this one right here, which was lofting debris up at one point about 20,000 feet. So again, we're talking about the potential for this being an EF3 or an EF4. If we go over to velocity, you can see that is a rather stoutly tight couplet. And if I zoom back out here, we're getting to the point where we're kind of between radar sites, and it gets a little difficult to pick which one is giving us the best view, but I'm going to stay here. But I'm going to switch it back over to regular old reflectivity. Just so that you guys can get an idea about where the cities are relative to kind of everything. I know it's tough to see in here. I get it. And I apologize for having to do this on a phone instead of on the OBS software that I normally use, but Facebook was giving me all kinds of errors and wasn't letting me. So you do the best you can with what you got some days. So no new word, thank goodness, from the National Weather Service. On this storm, other than they are continuing the warning wording of a considerable, or catastrophic, I should say, tornado. Noting that folks in Goss, Tilton, Holly Springs, Oakvale, and Society Hill and points nearby and points between. This will be up on you guys here in the next minute or two. Folks in ARM and Progress, points nearby, points between, around 110. Bunker Hill and Carson around 115. Folks in Bassfield and Prentice here coming up in under 15 minutes. Under 15 minutes for you guys. So please do what you can to protect yourself. Like I always say, put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. I want to get a better idea about what direction this thing is going. So we're going to circle our guy right there. And I'm going to run this back to here. We're going to circle the center down there. And then we're going to just draw our line from the two centers, from that center to that center, to get an idea about where this thing is going. In fact, we can do it a third time too. We'll circle the center down there. And you can kind of see how this is wobbling too, right? It's not going in a perfectly straight line here. Kind of wobbles back and forth. And if we kind of continue this off to the northeast, you would say this is going right between you folks in Prentice and Bassfield. So north of Bassfield, south and east of Prentice is going to be where this thing is going. If we kind of watch this thing from where it is, White Bluff, Oakvale, Society Hill, the Carson community, which is kind of between you folks in Bassfield and Prentice. Over the next couple of minutes, you folks in Darbin are dealing with it right now. So hopefully you're in your safe place right now. A new radar update in here. You can kind of see where it is now. It looks like it may have wobbled maybe a little farther flatter to the east. Do as much as you can. If you're in parts of southern Lawrence and southern Jeff Davis County and northern and extreme northeastern and northwestern Walthall and Marion counties, do what you can to protect yourself from this storm that's out there. Let's see anything. National Weather Service, nothing there. And Weather Service has dropped the warning now for Walthall County. As you can kind of see on here, there's kind of the tip of Walthall County there. And now that this storm has moved out, but there is another one back in behind it. So this next one is also worth monitoring. Back off to the north, very briefly. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This tornado warning for Smith County is also still in effect. Give me a second here, folks. Trying to get word, just any information here from some of the folks at the Weather Service. So this guy coming out of Smith County will be moving into kind of extreme southeastern Scott County, extreme northwestern Jasper County, and then on into Newton County. We can kind of put some of the cities on here to give you kind of an idea about where this is going to be. North of you folks in Lewin, north of you folks in Silverina, you folks in Montrose, probably also to the north of you guys. Folks in Newton and Lake probably have the most to worry about with this storm. The tornado warning, which is just off to the west of that, is a little tough to delineate right now. But the National Weather Service may be talking about letting that one go. Weather Service in Slidell issuing another severe thunderstorm warning for a different cell across parts of and just off to the west of our area. Clear that out here. Cool. All right. So for you folks in parts of Smith County, again, do what you can to protect yourself. This is a radar indicated tornado at this point. Hail being probably a bigger concern for most people rather than the tornado in this case. This expires in about 35 minutes. Down off to the south, we can kind of do the same thing with this guy. This one is an observed catastrophic tornado. This is a tornado emergency. Hail for up to 1.25 inches for this storm. And then down farther off to the south, this one radar indicated 1 inch hail. This one is the one coming out of Louisiana, and then this is the one I just mentioned. That was just off to the west of kind of the area that we tend to talk about the most. So right now, you've got the march of the supercells. You've got 3 of these guys here that are worth monitoring, with the one in the middle that's in parts of northern Marion and sneaking into the kind of boot heel of Jeff Davis County as the main area of concern right now for you folks in Prentiss, Bassfield, and Carson, points nearby, points between eventually, as well as cities in the path that are back off to the southwest of that, which would include you folks in like Society Hill, Oakvale, and White Bluff. It does look like this is going to pass by to the northwest of you folks in Morgantown. So you folks in Morgantown will probably miss out on dealing with a direct hit from this, but not by very much, frankly. You'll probably still get a mess of wind from this at the very least. So please do what you can to put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside. Even if it's just the wind, you're still talking about wind at, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour outside. Yeah, it's straight line wind, but it can still do plenty of damage. So do what you can to put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside. Let's see here. All right. Weather Service saying... all right. Still waiting to hear from the folks at the National Weather Service here. They are going to, looks like, continue the tornado warning for parts of Newton, Scott, Smith, and Jasper County. In the meantime, up in Jackson, down in Slidell. Let's see, I want to go back over to our CC here. Yeah, we're getting blown out by hail at this point. And this is the problem we're going to start running into in here. Now, I know we're still pulling this from Jackson, but with these storms producing as much hail as they're producing, it's going to start to become very difficult for non-National Weather Service tools to be able to decipher what is actually happening in the clouds. In fact, you can kind of see that, right? So if we switch to the Jackson, see how it fans out all this stuff, all this kind of yellowish stuff in here fans out because the radar that it's coming from up here is looking through the clouds and it's getting refracted by all the hailstones. Well, if we turn this around and we come down from the Slidell radar and look up into that, now it's getting sprayed and refracted to the north and east. Now, in this particular case, you can still see definitively that tornado debris signature that's crossing over into the boot heel of Jeff Davis County right now. And in fact, I'm going to circle that again right in there for you folks in Prentiss, right there. For you folks in Bassfield, right there. This is going to be moving to kind of the northeast like that. A couple minutes ago, it was showing that it would have been in between the two for you folks in Carson. But as this continues to wobble, I need you folks in Prentiss and Bassfield to get to your safe place as well. And do what you can to protect yourself from what's happening outside. Let's see here. And again, this is a catastrophic, in the words of the National Weather Service, warning. And yeah, okay. Still waiting on word from them. Aha, here we go. So from the National Weather Service in Jackson, they are continuing for southeastern Lawrence and now just Jeff Davis County, a confirmed large and destructive tornado located near Oakvale. That's about 12 miles off to the northwest of Columbia, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. This is a tornado emergency for parts of Lawrence, now extreme northern parts of Marion, most of Jeff Davis counties. This is a, quote, particularly dangerous situation for the hazard type, in their words, a deadly tornado. The tornado will be near Arm, Progress, Oakvale, Society Hill, and Carson within the next 5 minutes. Looks like we got a new radar scan in here while I've been talking. And again, this is going to get very difficult to start to see. But it looks like it's leaning a little more north. So I need you folks in Prentiss. I need you guys to be in your safe place right now. Put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside as you possibly can. I need you guys to protect yourself from this storm as this continues to move northeast at about 50 miles an hour. You folks in Bassfield, I'm not giving you guys the all clear from this, but I will say that there is a very large likelihood that this slides just off to your west. But for you folks in Carson and up toward Prentice, you guys are definitely in the path of this storm. Up and down 42 and up and down 13 in Jeff Davis County. If you're northwest of Bassfield, and then anywhere up and down 13 from like Society Hill all the way into Prentice, I need you guys in your safe place as well. I need you guys to put as much stuff between you and the storm as you possibly can. Protect yourself by throwing on a helmet if you got one, good bike helmet, motorcycle helmet, football helmet, and do what you can to put as much stuff between you and what's happening outside if you can. I always say good 2 walls helps. This is probably a 3-waller right now. For folks that are asking, I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of the comments asking, hey, it's raining in other places too, dude. What about where the other places are? And the short answer is, these are kind of the main games in town. You got one in Smith County, you've got our guy here in Jeff Davis County, and then you've got the other one now moving into parts of Pike and Walthall County. Any rain and thunder and wind that you're getting somewhere else, no warnings. No issues, just regular Mississippi thunderstorms at this point, unless you are underneath one of these tornado warnings, and in particular, this guy here for parts of Jeff Davis County. And in fact, as we kind of zoom in here, this thing is getting balled up pretty good. If we look from the south, if we kind of peel in here from the north, you can see kind of the hail core on there. That's the kind of purplish color that's starting to show up. And yeah, man, it's getting really hard to see inside of these storms. And so we're gonna have to go with and hope for that. Yeah, that'll work. That'll do. This will at least show you guys kind of where the center of the storm is and the direction it's going. Can't see the CC drop quite as well, but we can see is where the storm is and where it's going. It's moving off to the northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. It looks like we may have another storm coming out of Louisiana to monitor over the next couple of minutes. And I'll get you guys information on that here in a few. For folks in Covington County, this is probably going to be continued into your guys' neck of the woods. If we were to just kind of take this and extend it out, right? I mean, if we were to say, okay, our storm is here, it's doing kind of one of these numbers, or whatever. That hopefully gives people well downstream from this an idea about what may be coming, kind of over the next hour or two. And again, the National Weather Service and the SPC noting that there really is no reason for this to stop being a tornado. And so, now that it's on the ground and it's rooted and it's doing its thing, the idea is, short of some kind of cell merger and so some kind of interaction with a boundary that we are unaware of at this point, this is going to be probably on the ground, at least for the most part, for the next hour or two. So, and again, for folks asking about other places, you guys are looking at the map too, right? Here, I can flip this over to reflectivity here. If you're saying, hey, what about Waynesboro? Well, you guys are way over here. You guys are fine. I've seen a couple comments, hey, what about Hattiesburg and New Augusta? Yeah, you guys are good. It's our friends in Jeff Davis County that really need the attention, and then back again down into parts of Walthall County again that need the attention, and then up to the north in parts of Smith County as well. So those are the games in town right now. There's only 3 storms, right? And so we'll bounce between them here, but we got to make sure that our friends and neighbors that are being impacted by these 3 storms have an opportunity to get the information they need. and I know it's windy, it's thundering maybe where you are, and you know maybe there's some lightning and some heavy rain outside, and yeah, that can feel scary on a day like today. But please know that you know I got the National Weather Service information over here. I've got the radar right in front of me. I've got another radar up here that I'm watching. I've got you know kind of a weather dashboard over here. I will try my absolute best for you guys to make sure that you guys don't miss anything. But in the short term, I really do want to focus on folks that kind of need that need this information. So again, back off to the north here. I'll start diving back in. It looks like this guy in you know northern Smith County, now getting into parts of maybe Newton County, is starting to wrap itself back up again. Again, tough to see in here with all the other activity that's around it for you know the debris. But this is going to be moving off northeast for you folks in Newton, and this is going to be crossing over I-20. I-20 is like right there. That's the line. This is going to be crossing over I-20 in the next about 15 to 25, maybe 30 minutes.